Very good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 220th episode of the Together for Education webinars presented by Notebook. As we proudly completed our 200th episode early this year, remembering our journey, it was back in 2020 when we here at Notebook decided to launch a platform for the educators to connect meaningfully on discussing problems they were facing with the rising need of digital education and online learning and arrive at common solutions. Little did we know that day about this platform growing so big, where principals and educators from across the length and breadth of the country have participated over so many sessions. We thank you all once again for supporting us and would look forward to your gracious presence in all our upcoming episodes. We have discussed extremely relevant topics here, like digital learning, NEP and assessment, extracurricular topics like sports and theatre, topics like school fighters and management, and even evolved topics like child psychology. Our today's topic is enhancing employability. Employability as the end result of a perfect education is quite often a very debatable topic. However, the connection between employability and education can never be ignored. Let's hear from the experts today. Our first speaker on this topic is Mr. Burrett. Mr. Burrett retired as a deputy headmaster from the very illustrious Doon school in Dehradun after 44 years of serving in education across various institutions. Mr. Burrett served the Doon school as housemaster, head of department, dean of activities, dean of student welfare, deputy headmaster, second master, and acting headmaster with great distinction. He also carried out a visioning exercise for the Doon school in the year 2011 for an in-depth study of a number of British public schools and various schools in the US. Mr. Burrett qualified as a leadership trainer at the Wellington College in the UK in the year 2000. He is also an athlete, an adventurer, and a naturalist. We here at Notebook are truly privileged to have Mr. Burrett as our senior advisor. Sir, a very good evening. Thank you so much for being here today, and over to you, please.
Thank you very much, Gauri, for that introduction. Very kind of you. And good evening to everyone at Notebook, and as well as our esteemed panelists and our guest. Yeah, interesting topic. I think that one is employable. If the employer sees that a person can deliver or get the job done. For example, a 6-year-old unschooled child can be employed in a fireworks factory because his small dexterous fingers can get into making crackers, while a PhD with a theoretical mind may not find employment because he has no practical skills, or he may not be getting along with his colleagues. There are 3 areas, distinct areas. One is education, one is skill, and one is employability. And they're not interconnected. You can be educated, but unskilled and unemployable. And you can be uneducated and skilled and employable. Or you could be educated and skilled, but not employable. So simply being educated does not make you employable. You need to have more skills. Approximately 47% of the graduates in India are not eligible for any industrial role. As per Global Skills Gap Report, 92% of Indian employers believe there is a skills gap in the country. Educated unemployed is a particular problem in India due to the mismatch between education and job requirements. Outdated education systems, lack of job opportunities, and urban concentration, of course, are some of the problems. It reflects unique challenges faced by the Indian education system, the labor market, and the economy. Some jobs, as you know, do not require even a school pass. Petrol pump assistants, a receptionist, maybe. Some jobs require just a school pass, fast food restaurants. Some jobs, of course, the bigger ones like engineering and medicine and MBAs require a specialized education. But every engineer and every doctor doesn't find employment, doesn't find suitable employment. They can be underemployed. So there are certain life skills that make the difference between an engineer, a doctor, and a superb engineer and a very successful doctor. What are these qualities? But schools do not teach many of these qualities. I think that the non-academic skills like communication, problem solving, leadership, critical thinking, teamwork, resilience, These are very employable skills that have to be learned. I believe, I'm not too certain, but I think Google and Microsoft and some of these companies like Facebook and Amazon, they have interviews and they're looking for competence, definitely. But I think they also, I believe, take their recruits out on camps and take them to very difficult, treks and camps where they have to face hardships, because the employers want to see resilience. They want to see how selfless people are. What are your skills as people? What are your leadership abilities? Um, I know Google does see candidates with a strong academic background, technical expertise, problem solving ability. But where do you see these problem solving activities? How can you make out in an interview? You have to see them in the real life situation. The US Navy SEALs, I'm told, they look at ability and competence, but what they look for more, and they are some of the top teams in the world, they look for attitude. They look for the correct attitude. Can this person, whether fatigued or whether he's shot in the leg, can he run out and rescue his friends, rescue his colleagues? That's the quality they look for. Yes, education is important, as Gagori mentioned. Education isn't just a piece of paper. Time spent in high schools, colleges, and graduate schools, we master the advanced skills. The longer you stay in academic, the better you are at writing, reading, comprehension, communication skills, research, and of course, you will be accustomed to dealing with people by a wide variety of people. And I always tell students, the more you study, the better chances you have of getting a job and the larger variety of jobs at your disposal. But even with all these skills, there is much in-service training left before we become competent at a job. So a newly employed person will develop and grow in his job and reach senior positions only after many years of in-service training. I think that schools have to look at leadership, team building, team skills, critical thinking, combined thinking. That is, you have to tie up subjects like in the wild. How do you make a fire with using a copper wire and a cell, a battery? Correlation between various disciplines, ability to take negative feedback, to think on one's feet, to be able to come up with plan B and plan C, to be accountable for fellow employees, self-management, taking initiative. I had a student in school who he was a very poor student, and yet he rose to, I think, number 2 in World 10, and he had other very, very leading roles. Unfortunately, the poor man died very young, but he couldn't even put on a computer, I think. Yet he rose to some of the highest jobs in computer companies because of his people skills. He was able to bring the best out of people. He was a born leader. He cared for people. So his skills in getting employment were not his educational skills. There were other skills. I think in India, the concept of gap years after schools and colleges is very uncommon. We just rush through school and get into a job at 21. I think abroad, students who travel, take on jobs, earn some money between school and college or between college and work. This is very important because it teaches people to communicate, to interact, to learn, to travel, to open one's world view. There's also dignity of labor. Abroad, you can take any job. In India, we are getting there, but there's still a big reluctance to take on any job. Children from good homes have this, they don't have a dignity of labor. And so they're very fussy about what they do. I think schools need to promote this gap year placements, offer summer jobs, internships, adventure programs, summer camps, hands-on learning experience, mentorship programs. And education institutions can help students gain the necessary knowledge and expertise demanded by the job market. Now, I'm going to just take you through a few things on how schools can help. The first thing is encourage teamwork. I think enable students to understand the importance of working with others, communication, compromise, sharing credit. They should also learn complex thinking skills. It's not sufficient just to reach a goal, but what are the path that you need to choose to reach this goal? This requires skills like innovation, creativity, the ability to look at a task, not only to see the outcome, but other ways of achieving it. Also, schools should teach real life skills, which involves putting knowledge to use, like their financial and life plans. imperative on schools is to focus on the content as well as the application of the subject, how to apply knowledge. They should also learn how to handle financial, personal, and professional spheres. Also, I think schools, and they do this quite well, they connect with outside guest speakers and people who can come into school, because I think we need to give our students this ability to work with professional mentors, and to see how people who have been successful have got there, have reached there. So I think it's important that we have professional mentors coming into school and telling students about their job career, career path, etc. Of course, in the school I worked in, we had a program called Take a Child to Work. So we took groups of children to hospitals, banks, using parents from the school who had companies and factories. Even we took them to a sweet shop, a shop that was making Indian sweets. They wanted to see the students to see how bankers and doctors and nurses actually work. So take a person to work is a good example. Okay, the career counseling is very important. I think schools do this, more and more schools are doing this, so that children can see the various jobs that are on offer. As I say, some of the jobs that are going to be out in the next 20 years haven't been even created. But all the same, students should be exposed to the job market. I think also students must learn how to take failure. Resilience is a skill that is needed to move forward successfully. After failure, in any job, you will have failures. And students should be taught this in school, how to respond to failed tests, projects, to courses, and learn to improve after you fail. I think digital fluency and digital literacy is a must. I think whether you're doing a humanities course or a science course, I think the better you are at, things like coding and robotics, the better you are faced to take on jobs afterwards. Also, providing a well-rounded curriculum. I think schools have to look at a holistic curriculum, range of skills-based subjects and options, and entrepreneurial courses must be provided to students. Critical thinking, problem solving, time management skills, which are very required in the workplace, are fostered through entrepreneurial courses. Since there's no easy solution that can ensure success in later life work, providing students with a well-rounded curriculum, including STEM, history, communication courses, music and art, skill subjects, entrepreneurial courses can be very helpful. I know that many leading doctors, Indian doctors abroad, who are authors. They're writing books. So I think a writer who's a doctor who's literate, or an engineer who's an artist, makes a better engineer. So school systems have to evolve in terms of their structure, program, and teaching strategies that will align well with the essential requirements and prepare students for the work-life future by honing the right skills at schools. Schools need to respond to the demands of the job market by extending and adapting to what and how they teach, with the objective of bridging the distance between the classroom and the workplace. At every level of education, professional mentors and educationists should work together to confront and bridge the skills gap and reconfigure the education to work pipeline. With that, Gogori, I look forward to hearing the comments of Achin, obviously, who's an expert on this topic, and us and our esteemed panelists. Thank you very much.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, to discuss this topic, we have a wonderful panel lined up for you. And many thanks to Burrett sir for his wonderful deliberations. Before we start with the other speakers and panel discussion, a little bit about us here at Notebook. We at Notebook are an edtech platform that creates short videos pertaining to the school curriculum. This means that every topic from every subject of the school syllabus has been converted into a series of short videos that can be used in two different cases. One is when you as a teacher are starting out a topic in your classroom, you can play one of these videos as a method of visually introducing the topic to your students. These videos are just 6 to 10 minutes in duration and take up a very little of your class time while offering the right kind of material to students to generate curiosity and excitement. The second is when students are studying at home months later. They have access to the same videos on their personal devices, be it a laptop or a smartphone. They can watch the videos over and over again until they get a very, very clear understanding of the topic that you had taught them in school. What I am going to do now is play you a mashup of notebook videos that you know what they exactly look like.
Soon, the villagers joined her, and each one of them embraced a tree. But the cruel men did not listen to the villagers, and in attempt to cut the trees, a number of villagers died.
He needs to buy at least 5 books a week across a variety of genres. He especially prefers crime, thriller, and ghost stories. He stops by Kalicharan's bookstore in Newmarket every Monday to pick them up.
Antonio believes that this is his destiny to play the role of a sad and serious man.
शीघ्र ही नाटक का दूसरा महत्वपूर्ण पात्र बेसेनियो अपने साथी लोरेंजो और ग्रेशियानो के साथ अपने संबंधी तथा मित्र एंटोनियो से मिलने आता है.
All major functions in the body and the way we look, how the body is built, etc. is determined by the type of protein in our body.
Mina's mother asks her to count all the coconuts she can find on the fruit seller's cart. Mina looks carefully around and sees that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 coconuts. Were you able to count all the coconuts too?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was a small part of some of our videos as you just now saw. We have today connected with over 3,500 schools and have had millions of students and teachers benefit from our videos. If you head over to our website, www.notebook.school, you would find all such videos at your disposal. If you want notebook in your school, please do get in touch with our sales team at sales@notebook.school. With that, it is now time to introduce a very wonderful panelist that we have with us today. We have with us today Rajeev sir, Delhi World Public School, Gujarat. Sir is a trained ELT from English and Foreign Languages University, Hyderabad, UG and PG in English from Banaras Hindu University, Varanasi. Previously associated with many reputed schools, including GEMS, India Group of Schools, Tohana, Haryana, MGVM, Parle School, Neemrana, Rajasthan, Navodaya Vidyalaya, Jharkhand, only to name a few. His core area of interest is research in school education and conducting teachers training. Sir has contributed a lot as CBSE's resource person that is conducting teachers training on various topics and developing teachers training manuals. He is the founder and CEO of School Education, www.rajevelt.com, and 10 Minutes 10 Thoughts, an expert talk. Sir, a very, very good evening and welcome to the panel. Next we have with us Mrs. Nargis Qazi, ma'am, Principal, International Delhi Public School, Andhra Pradesh. With 26 years of progressive experience as an administrator and teacher in CBSE schools, ma'am has worked specifically on psychology of teenagers and helped them in solving problems and dealing with growth and stress. She has worked as principal for 3 years in Vani Lands English High School and Junior College Vani, for 2 years in Prabhat Kids, Akola, for 4 years in St. Mary's School, Bhandara, and for 2 years in Agveda School of Brilliance, Daryapur. Ma'am has received the Dronacharya Educators Award for the best work in education and has been conferred by Indian International Teachers Association, Delhi. She has conducted many workshops on the psychological and emotional needs of teenagers, classroom management, classroom teaching, inclusive education, and so on. Ma'am, thank you so much for being here today and a warm welcome to the panel. Also, we have with us Mr. Subhash Raghav, sir, founder director, Samadhan Academy, Bangalore, Karnataka. Apart from his master's and Int'l degrees, sir has diploma in career counseling, child counseling, and mentoring. Sir has worked in the Indian Air Force for 16 years, in the field of sales and marketing for 10 years, and in the education field for 15 plus years now. He has conducted career counseling seminars for 200 plus schools in Bangalore and has conducted 60 plus webinars on various topics like motivation, career options, and stress management. So a very, very good evening and welcome to the panel. If I can kindly ask my panelists to switch on their cameras, please. Coming to Hari, Subhash, Raghav, sir, first. Sir, what are the measures that can be taken in the secondary and high secondary stages to ensure employability? And also, if you can touch base on skills education and vocational education as a part of the NEP, sir.
Yeah, good evening, Gagori. Good evening,
Good evening,
all
sir.
panelists. It's pleasure to listen to Mr. Philip Burrett in the starting, and which motivates us to speak on the topic of the day. Now, the topic is touches my heart, because since I am from counseling area, so the employability is the one for which anybody and everybody goes to schools. Now, before I come, what schools should do, most of the points Mr. Philip has covered. I would like to cover another aspect of the same employability topic, is that we should start something, that is the school, teachers and parents should start something called counseling from class, let us say 8. Further 9, 10, 11, 12, we should inculcate those skills which help in getting employment. Now, I would quote one small instance. I was doing radio counseling for an institute called SEMCA. So since it was, I am recording and sending, a question is, sir, I am MSc in physics, 70% marks. How do I get into UP police? So this surprises, and this brings us back to that the employability itself is a problem, but the bigger problem is that I am not able to choose my field properly. I did not start well, which should have been done by all the three together, that is parents, teachers, and student together age, from somebody like us, as Mr. Philip was also trying to mention, is that professional mentor and counselor should be doing this task of trying to see attitude of the student, aptitude of the student, ability to stretch, whether I would be able to see. Now, I have myself counseled students, sir, I want to get into medical field, how to crack NEET. Then the first question itself, are you comfortable seeing bleeding? No, sir, no, sir, no, sir. Bleeding I can't see. Are you comfortable going to job during nights? No, sir, that I can't. Then, dear, you should not go and become doctor, right? Finally, I know that after doing your MBBS, you would be writing civil services exam and going for IAS or IPS, because you don't have attitude and aptitude. Of course, these can be inculcated, improved upon, but basic attitude, I should have that, I would go into this area. So at least this beginning should be done by all the three put together, that is student, teacher, and parents. Now coming further to the school's role itself. If you see the brochure of any school, they will mention everything from horse riding to aircraft riding to everything. But if you take a student of class 11 and give him a check, please deposit this in a bank, he would not know how to fill that form to deposit that check, though the form itself is having only 2-3 things to fill. There is no rocket science to fill, but the guy has not been exposed. The exposure is what is required. Now, the other point which I would want to insist for all schools and even counselors and parents is the basic 4 skills. What we keep saying is reading, writing, listening, speaking. Out of that, once we come at, let us say, 11th, or the student crosses 10th, he must be given little more exposure for a skill called listening skill. For me, listening skill is very important. Reading, writing is okay for a student of 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 6th, 7th. But when we come to, let us say, graduation, listening skill, as per me, has got 3 parts. 1, allow somebody to speak. Generally, 90% of us do not allow somebody to complete what he is wanting to say, and we assume that this is what he must be trying to say. I would respond. So one is allow somebody to speak. Very important, though the skill is listening, but I am talking about allow somebody to speak. Second thing is listen what he is speaking. Don't assume, don't add or reduce. What he is saying word by word, let us listen only what he is saying. Our perspective we can add at stage number 3. Third stage comes, allow him to speak, listen what he is saying from his perspective, don't add. Third thing is now give 10 seconds, 2 seconds and analyze from your perspective, understand, then respond. So the listening skill itself will solve 60-70% of the problems what we face at our workplace. We have seen a 4-page biodata, and if you ask him, sir, what job you are looking for? Anything, sir. Sir, I am MSc in physics. I have also done housekeeping. I have done admin job. I was dean there and I was library head there. What all did you do? Were you really serious to do your job, or were you doing what you were getting because you wanted salary? So the Mr. Philip Burrett was very clear in trying to say that. I am just emphasizing on that, is that job, career is not one day. It should be 35 years, 60 minus 25. 35 years, I should be doing something regularly. Yes, change is possible, as we say, love what you do or do what you love. And then further story everybody knows. So what you are doing, please love that. And if you are not able to love, please don't do that. Start doing something else, as I did at least 2 changes. From Air Force, I came to sales marketing, successfully I did, no problems. But then I came to education field, not because I was having problems there, but because I wanted to come, because that was my field. Sales and marketing was not my field. I was not able to add value to the society. I was not able to return something to society, which I am able to do now. All these things, schools also should understand. National education policy is very clear about employability, as clear as Mr. Narayan Murthy, who very often says 90% of the passed out engineers are not employable. Mr. Philip has covered that area, but I am just saying what Narayan Murthy keeps saying, 90% of the graduate engineers are not employable. I had somebody came to me for doing internship, and I asked him, can you speak English? Then he's telling me in Kannada, Salpa Salpa Bharutte, sir. Salpa Salpa Bharutte, my question is, can you speak English? So his answer should be yes or no. He's saying Salpa Salpa Bharutte means he does not know English. How did you do graduation? English medium, BTech you are. So at least you should say, sir, I know English, but not very well. Accent is not good. See, my accent is not good. I have been able to do MPhil smoothly, perfectly. There is no problem. And I did my MPhil from Central Institute of English and Foreign Languages, which is called EFLU nowadays. A central government funded company. Accent is problem because I come from UP. No problem. I don't feel shame. No. But I should be able to convey what I am trying to say. Soft skills along with the vocational skills and skill education is very important. It is going to be very important from now onwards. The one more point I would like to add before I end is National Education Policy covers this. All the teachers need to be multifaceted now onwards. Every teacher, if he is physics teacher, he should also know either the badminton or the swimming or the dancing or the some classical thing, and he should be able to teach students. Accordingly, the student has to do. The same way applies for a student, that if he is good in physics, so let him choose one of either. There are 1,067 courses Central School has added, which are vocational courses. The vocational courses were there before. 67 now they have added after new education policy has come in. So my suggestion for all the listeners would be, dear, please be good in your subject. Learn soft skills very well. Soft skills, Mr. Philip was explaining. Conflict management, motivational things, team leadership, doing departmental things like finance and trying to see work, showing empathy. How do you do bandage of somebody who has broken his leg or hand or something like that? And last but not the least, I have explained listening skills. Improve your listening skills, listen and then respond. Thank you very much, Gagori, giving me option before next speaker. And thank you, Mr. Philip Burrett. Thank you, Mr. Achin.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for your deliberations. It's always a pleasure to have you in the platform. Thank you so much for coming and gracing the platform. If I can come next to Nargis Qazi, ma'am. Ma'am, my question to you would be, what are the key considerations in ensuring future employability of the students, and what are the practices do you follow in your school, ma'am? Ma'am, are you there? Hello?
Yes, I am there, Gagori. How are you?
I'm good, ma'am. How are you? I know that you're not well, and thank you so much for just coming in.
Yes, thank you so much. Very good evening. Very good evening to all the panelists.
Very good evening, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Am I audible?
Absolutely, ma'am. You're audible.
Yeah.
And my question to you will be, what are the key considerations in ensuring a future employability of the student, and how do we approach it?
Yes, the key consideration for ensuring future employability.
Employability. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. As this topic is concerned for the school students, and yes, of course, as we all are educators, we are providing education, and we are we are there to suggest the opportunities to children. As educators, we all are sitting here to educate children, to build the future, to create professionals. So we are all sitting here and discussing the topic because we all are educated, and education has provided all of us the opportunity to be at this post. So yes, I think education is providing opportunities for students for the employment, but it is not necessary that a person who is educated is definitely skilled and is able to provide to perform the task according to the education he or she has acquired. Actually, the key features for any of the employment are according to the person who has taken a particular education. It is not necessary that always education opens the opportunity for employment. We see many of the people are involved in day-to-day jobs, those who are providing us with the daily commodities, like those who are vegetable vendors, those who are on the roads. We see many of the children are selling juice, and so it is not like they are skilled in their work. They are skilled in their work, and that's why they are able to earn. What is education which is providing employment must be skill-based. That's why NEP has proposed skill-based education 6th standard onwards. I will share an example. See, we all are 3 sisters. I am a principal. My elder sister is doctor. And our mother is, one of our sister is homemaker. My mother is only standard 4. She only studied till standard 4. So when my elder sister, she went in standard 5th. My mother, she was a Urdu medium learned lady. She learned English and Hindi to teach my sister and to help her to work, to help her to complete her homework. When my daughter was studying computer in her school. My daughter is a 2009 SSC pass girl. So when she was in her second standard, and once I went for the PTM and I saw her computer papers, answer sheets. So I was surprised to see she scored 46 out of 50. I was surprised because one day before I have taken her studies, and I was really worried that she could hardly score 16 or 20. I was surprised. I thought because that time computer was newly introduced in the schools. So I thought teachers, and they were charging extra for computer education. So I thought they are purposely giving handful of marks so that parents would be satisfied. So I joined computer classes. So education is creating opportunities for people to learn and to develop themselves. It is up to us how much we are taking it, how much we are polishing ourselves. One more example of I would like to share of my mother. When my mother is born and brought up in Maharashtra, and my father is from Gujarat. So when my mother married to my father in 1958, so the first time when she came to my Nana's home, my father wrote her letter in Gujarati. My mother was unable to read because she was an Urdu medium student. So for reading my father's letter, my mother first joined Gujarati classes. She studied Gujarati, and then she read my father's letter because it was a private thing. She did not allow anybody to read for her. And then she replied to my father in Urdu. And for reading that letter, my father learned Urdu. So you see, you can see the enthusiasm, the thirst.
Yeah.
So the thirst, the thirst to provide you skill, the thirst, motivated them to read. And that same thirst motivated me to, to know about computers and to learn computer, to get computer education, so that I must know what my daughter is writing in her exams and how much she is scoring. So yes, of course, education is there to to create skilled people, to create skilled persons, and that we all are nowadays. So many things are there in school. In my school, we have space lab, we have robotics, we have language lab. So many opportunities we are providing, and moreover, we have different sports also, and we have, according to their choice, according to their interest, they are choosing the sports and they are playing according to their interest. Special coaches are there, swimming is there, then horse riding is there. So yes, we are trying to to polish them in the different skills of their choice. It is up to a person how much he or she want to adapt and how much she want to showcase. Because according to NEP also, means there are lots of skill based courses, skill education we have introduced in schools, like gardening, cooking, tailoring, embroidery. So many things are there which are opening the doors of employment for the people. So we as educators, we as educators, even school managements must have to start such kind of skill-based courses in the school, which can provide them opportunity to earn. Education must always prepare people to earn, to employ themselves. It is not necessary that there are lots of jobs are jobs are open for everybody and everyone is able to get job. It is very tough time and too much challenging. So we must polish them with the skills, so that if once they pass the school, they can earn and they can survive. For that, so many things, so many skills. When I was a school girl, at that time in our school, one subject they were providing us, that was work experience. Under work experience, we were taught every year one thing, In 7th standard, we were taught to prepare jute bags. So those who learn that skill, they can, prepare jute bags and they can sell in the market. In 8th standard, we were taught with cookery and baking. So every year we were taught with one of the skill, and many of the those who are homemakers, my friends, they have adopted such occupations. Some have started their bakery, some are tailoring, some are doing embroidery works. So along with the bookish knowledge, we have to skill our children, our students, the generation with such types of skill-based courses so that they can earn, they can survive, and they can adopt, they can be self-employed themselves. Yes, of course, there are some key skills which one need to learn. That is communication. Communication is must. You must be good in communication. You must reach to the person opposite to you, because many of the people, when they're coming for interview, when we are conducting interviews, people, they are MSc, they are PhD, but they are unable to, they are unable to teach. They are unable to reach to the students. So every time education is not key to provide your employment, your skill, how master you are in your skill, how good you are in conveying your message to the person opposite to you, that matters. Leadership qualities, one must have leadership quality, and that leadership quality gives you confidence, and that confidence that confidence takes you to take a leap in your future. Teamwork is also important, because if you are working somewhere, your communication matters, your leadership quality matters, your teamwork matters. So your best communication opens door for employment. Your leadership quality also a key skill for the employment. Your teamwork also matters. Then your reliability, how reliable you are, how good you are to create that trust to the industry, that yes, they can rely upon you. You can work on the deadlines. You can be committed to your work. That reliability matters. Then self-management. A person must be self-managed. The person must manage everything, organized, follow the deadline, follow the time management. All these are the key skills for the employability. Then, of course, you must be good in technology, because nowadays nothing can be done without technology, computer. So you must be skilled with technology, and yes, you are always ready for learning. So all these key aspects are helpful for providing employment. So yes, education is providing employability. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I know you're not well, and thank you so much for coming and deliberating, ma'am. Moving on to Rajeev, Ranjan, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Sir, thank you so much for coming and gracing the platform. A very good evening to you. I have two particular questions for you. One would be like, should education have employability as a consideration at all? And like skills education and vocational education are the focus. So how do you see these being implemented in our schools?
Thank you. Good evening to one and all. And thank you all the speakers, experts, that they made my task very, and they covered almost all things which we can think how we can be an employee, and how we can develop ourselves as a good a skilled employee. So first, see, 10 years before, no one ever dreamed that a YouTuber can earn more than crore rupees. So we could not think. So if we talk about a person who is uneducated, but he can also earn crores rupees by creating content on YouTube. But if we talk about education, education brings sustainable development in our life. Education brings sustainability in our life. If we want to be, if we talk about future employability of students, so 4 basic things I believe. First thing, a person must have nature of inquiry. Second thing, he must have, passion for exploration. So first thing is inquiry. Second thing is exploration. When we inquire, when we explore, then we can be able to identify our own interests. We can relate ourselves with the things which I am interested. So third thing is identification. And fourth thing, if I am able to identify that this area I can work and I can do something better in my life. So fourth thing demands, a skill development. So when I was going through, future employability, so I came to, discuss 6 points. Like first thing, all have covered that we must have foundational skills. Every leader, every employer, every HR is facing challenges that the person is unable to write, the person is unable to put their point, in proper manner. So literacy, foundational literacy is essence of getting a job in market right now. So whether it is writing and verbally essential for any job requiring, suppose we need to write a reports, presentation, client interaction, whether we are educated or non-educated. So even a Zomato boy need to know how to communicate with the client. So this first thing is developing a strong foundational skills. Second thing is promoting lifelong learning. So if we want our student to become a good employee, to get a job in a market, so we need to promote, we need to counsel them, we need to ask them to explore certain areas. Like think about the online courses. So thank you to Corona, that before Corona we were unable to explore. We do not have confidence that even if we are doing some certain online courses and I will get a job. So when we talk about lifelong learning, it comes today. We can explore thousands of courses of our own interest, and which are going to help in getting jobs in our life. So when I was going through, I would like to name some of MOOC, massive open line online courses, like the platform I am going to talk: Data Camp, Udacity, Udacity is from USA, Udemy, we all know, from India, ADX, USA, Coursera, Skillshare, BitDegree, FutureLearn. These are platforms where thousands of courses, online courses are available. Like I'm going to talk about, when we talk about India, we all have heard SWAYAM, SWAYAM. It is online platform developed by Government of India. Everyone should know about NPTEL, NPTEL. That is also a part of India. Government of India developed NPTEL. So when we talk about online courses like Open Education, it is from Taiwan. eWant, Education You Want from Taiwan. Medidex from Spain. EduOpen from Italy. Open HPI from Germany. MOOC FI from Finland. So we need to explore that these are the various platforms where we can do certain courses of our own interest, and we can ensure that whenever we are going to market, we are getting good jobs in market. We since we have developed our skills, so we can get. If we talk about CBSE, right now, according to National Education Policy, last 3 to 4 years, CBSE is focusing on a skill education. So when you go through the chart, in class 11th and 12th, there are 40 courses, and traditional courses as well as non-traditional courses, like retail courses, information technology, web application, automotive, financial market management, tourism, beauty and wellness. So just I'm going to name some of the courses: agriculture, food production, front office operator, banking, marketing, healthcare, insurance, X-ray technician, horticulture, geospatial technology, construction, taxation, cost accounting, music production, business administration, food and nutrition and dietetics, mass media studies, library and information science. These are courses promoted by CBSE, promoted by Government of India. So I am going to give you certain, factual information. If a student want to explore in a skill education, I am going to name some of the great institute of India, Indian government, central government, like National Council for Vocational Education and Training. If you go through that website, we can find out n number of courses, and a student can complete the courses from class 6 to class 12. A teacher can complete so many courses from NCVET. Second, Government of India institution, a skill development agency, NSDA. Third, I would like to name National Council for Vocational Training, NCVT. Fourth, National Skill Development Corporation. These four institutions I named, these are doing wonderful job for Indian student, where one Indian student can do a number of job. Either you are from CBSE or you are from a state board, it doesn't matter. You can enroll there and you can do certain courses there. So if we want to promote, employability and our student as, education school level. So since I am Rajkot, and Rajkot is hub of factories, so many factories, and I met last year, I met so many CEOs of factories, and I ensured that our student visited that place and they learned a lot from the CEO of that company. The company manager talked with the student, and the student explored how they can do certain business and how they can do certain production, develop production house. Through that, I ensured that so many students visited almost 5 to 10 factories, different type of factories, because one student can have different approach, another student can have different approach. So they went different places and they learned. So if we want to ensure, employability, so partner with local business and organization to create internship and apprenticeship opportunity for a student. So as a principal, we need to encourage a student to participate in extracurricular activity that provide real world exposure to their chosen field. Second thing, which I am doing right now, that provide mentorship program that connect a student with experienced professional in their field. So we tried our best to host networking events and career fairs to facilitate connection between a student and potential employer. So these are, first and last, we would like each and everyone to develop skills. And if we are not developing skills, we cannot be a good and good employee in our market. Okay.
Absolutely, sir.
So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your deliberation, sir, and thank you so much for coming. Moving on to our next speaker for this topic, who is Mr. Achin Bhattacharyya, CEO and founder at Notebook. A chartered accountant by training, Achin was a director at Deloitte prior to starting Notebook. He has worked in India and abroad in various senior capacities in GE, PwC, KPMG, and Deloitte. Achin is a member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of England and Wales, a fellow of the ICEI, a member of CP Australia and CPI Ireland, and also a member of CIMA UK. He is the recipient of the very prestigious Indian Achievers Award. An avid reader and a very passionate traveler, Achin has keen interest in economics, history, literature, and philosophy. He's a regular speaker at various forums and chambers of commerce and contributes articles to numerous publications regularly. He's also on the board of some of the most renowned corporates and contributes significantly to their brand strategies. Achin, a very, very good evening, and over to you, please.
Good evening, everyone. Gauri, am I audible?
Absolutely.
I once again welcome all of you to today's session. I think wonderful session. I was hearing all our eminent panelists. I think very seamless discussion, a lot of information. And I think a lot of points have come forward with regard to the skill part. And there's no denying that in order to succeed in today's competitive landscape, in order to ensure that indeed, our youth become more employable, skills are very important. But I think we have discussed enough about skills. A lot of good points have come. So I don't want to reiterate them. I don't want to discuss about skill development, which of course, again, NEP also talks about in great detail, move in the right direction. Instead, I would like to talk a little bit about attitude, which to me is also as important, if not more. I think first and foremost, today, if you look at the family structure, most places, nuclear families, especially if you look at metro cities, people living in high rises, many of them don't even know their neighbors, although there's a common WhatsApp group, which is very different from the way children grew up 2 decades back or 3 decades back. In fact, I remember having grown in a joint family with more than 25 cousins. Teamwork is something which comes naturally, and I'm sure that's the same with a lot of audience here. Whether that be maintenance of the common space, gardening, or a function in the house, a marriage, teamwork was natural, seamless. And each member of the team exactly knew what was expected of him. And when seniors, the elder cousins, someone relocated or someone got busy with their work or got married, the baton passed seamlessly. So everybody got a shot at it. Everybody got their own moment of glory. Everybody got an opportunity to lead, to come forward with their thoughts, which in today's age, if you look at nuclear families, it becomes extremely difficult. The other problem is the whole attitude. Today, in many cases, single child, etc., you will see that is very, in their own sense, very subconsciously this is built in that they are the center of the universe. But it is very important to care and share. And why I'm saying this, having been a part, having spent a considerable number of years in the corporate world, having been part of many interview panels, be it in startups or be it in huge global conglomerates, be it for a trainee or be it for people coming in for the C-suite. One thing that I can tell you that today's world, what the employers look for, the corporates, they don't want stars, they want team players. If you remember the last football World Cup that happened recently, if you remember an European nation dropping their key player in a critical match, in spite of the fact that he's a globally recognized and reputed star, because the coach felt that he was not being able to gel well with the other members of the team. He was not coming across as a team player. Of course, they lost the match. They were eliminated. It was a knockout stage. But the message was loud and clear. The today's world need team players who can keep their individual egos aside, who can come into a discussion to find out what is right and not who is right, who can not only lead, but also follow, who can appreciate someone else's point of view, who can graciously agree to disagree. And I think these are extremely important traits, which, if you look at the social structure, earlier these things naturally came in. Coexistence, sharing and caring, community living. But in today's age, be it the perils of modern living, be it the kind of challenges that we face with both parents working, and these are real life challenges. So I think it is very, very important that children are taught how to care and share. They are taught how to be a good team member. How do they work in teams? How do they ensure that if there's a group activity, how can they plan it? Can they work as a common group towards their objective? Of course, a lot of good things are done in the school. A lot of team building activities, different houses that we see. But still, I think there's a lot which we can do in this direction. And this is the need of the hour. Second thing, when it comes to attitude, I think it's very important that we teach our children, we teach our youth to not only expect for victory at any cost, but also be able to accept defeat graciously. If there are 60 students in a class, we all understand that logically all 60 can't be toppers. Not possible. But that's completely okay. What is most important is that at some point of time, and the earlier it is, the better it is for them, they find their calling. A friend of mine who was never too enthused with academics. And I remember, even during his graduation, he was quite confused. He's a globally renowned chef today. You search his name in YouTube and maybe you get 1,000 interviews. He's everywhere. Almost every alternate week, I find him in the newspaper. So he found his calling and he made it big. What is important is that children, of course, it's good to be competitive. But at the end of the day, they also need to understand that it's completely okay if they don't win in each and every instance. And even if they don't succeed in one of their endeavors, next day morning the sun will still rise. When we read about incidents like students committing suicide, I think that's a slap on our face as a civil society. There's been so much of pressure on the little child, burden of expectation. And somehow, somewhere, consciously or subconscious, I think as a society, we all need to self-introspect. So I think this is another thing which to me is very important, that we teach our children to take both victory and defeat in their stride. They need to live to see another day, fight another battle. And who knows, that might be a much bigger opportunity. Sometimes, I think destiny and Almighty decides for us. And those decisions at times really work. Third thing, in today's age, again, in terms of attitude, is ability to unlearn. Today, when we look at the corporate world, and I'm sure many of you will agree with me, it's a very common experience you'll see around you, your friends, your neighbors, your extended family members, many of them, especially in sectors like IT. Somewhere in early 50s, late 40s, you'll see a career slump. Some of them hitting a roadblock. Some of them complaining that there are not enough opportunities, job cuts, pay cuts. And in case, if they get the pink slip, it's difficult for them at times to get a job. Why so? One thing is very clear, that in today's age, if we expect our children to learn one skill, be very good at it, and continue for a lifetime, that's not going to happen. So at every stage of life, and this pace of change is only increasing. Change is always there since perpetuity, but the pace at which this change is taking place today, with seamless flow of information, internet making flow of information democratic, is ruthless. And because of that, what has happened is that today, if you look at skill set, what is relevant today will not be relevant tomorrow. Skill set is also perishable, and we need to come to terms with it. So it's very important, the ability to unlearn. And also, I think we need to understand that any kind of insecurity seriously holds us back. Any kind of protectionism, red tapeism, bureaucracy won't help. It will be survival of the fittest. It will be like perfect competition. Last year, I remember had gone to attend a family function at a friend's place, and a group of senior gentlemen who were just in the next table, they were discussing something. I didn't plan to use drop, but they were quite loud. What I could understand was that all of them, they own brick and mortar establishments, dealerships, showrooms, shops, etc. They were all complaining about online. The fact that kind of price cuts happening is ruthless. How do they offer such prices? Our costs are far more. We'll go out of business. And they were quite charged up, quite emotional. And I understood that between them, silently, there was a resolution, there was a pledge that whatever happens, we will not buy something online. One of them said that there's one particular medicine he is not getting anywhere. The other gentleman suggested, why don't you try online? The immediate reply was, I'll never do that. Because of that, my own business has suffered. I will not buy it online. But the fact is, change is inevitable. We might resist it for the time being, but ultimately we need to come to terms with it. So in today's age, ability to unlearn, the flexibility, ensuring that for the next phase of our journey, we are able to unlearn and relearn. That is very important. Next, I think, again, in terms of attitude, today, with advent of artificial intelligence, any routine, replicable, repetitive job at some point of time is going to be automated. We all remember, I distinctly remember during my school days, sometimes going to the bank with my parents and seeing them withdraw money. Somebody sitting at the counter. Today, between us, how many times have we gone to the bank and withdrawn money? For last few decades, ATM has been everywhere. And that's the same for each and every job. Anything routine, replicable will be automated. So today's children, they need to be innovative and creative. And the whole thing is going to be application oriented. Now, how do we ensure we can all agree, we can all argue? Very often I hear creativity is inborn. You can't make somebody creative. I don't agree. Whether that be the spirit of innovation or creativity, to me, a very large part of it comes from your overall perspective of life. Do we teach our children to have a very myopic vision, very micro level vision, where they're very much interested only in their textbook? Or can we inculcate a habit of reading to know the world, to see the world, to have a broader dimension? Only things like that will give them a broader holistic perspective, which will lead to innovation and, of course, creativity coming in. And then again, as I told you, application-based thinking. And a large part of it also has got to do with how parents, they bring up the child. Spoon feeding. Even if the child wants a glass of water, 2 house helps are running with glasses of water. Will that help? Because at some point of time, they will need to compete with children from all over the world. Whether we like it or not, the world is going to become borderless in terms of labor mobility. And COVID has shown that again and again that location doesn't matter. Remote working, working from home, these are completely seamless now, normal now. So today, if you look at any autobiography, You read about Steve Jobs, you read about Bill Gates, you read about Barack Obama. One thing common that you see that in the early youth, going for backpack travels, traveling around the world, facing hardships, seeing the world, getting out of your comfort zone. So I think these are things that we really need to inculcate. And last, which is very important, is integrity and values. If you look at a sustainable career growth, we need to walk the talk. We need to teach our children to walk the talk. Be it any stakeholder in their life, be it their prospective employers, team members, customers, bankers, anybody who will expect them to walk the talk. So integrity and values, they play a very important role. Because it's not only about making somebody employable, but also about ensuring sustainability, both in terms of continuing that as well as growth. Whether they work for themselves as an entrepreneur or they join a corporate, it's all the same. Integrity and value is something which you need everywhere. And the other thing is, I think integrity and value also comes from the fact that whether we respect ourselves, because others will respect us only when we respect ourselves. And we respect ourselves only when we understand at the end of the day that we have some set of values which we don't compromise. We are a nation who have been known for integrity and values, for culture. Our roots are very strong. And I think we should take great pride in it and ensure that our children also take great pride in it. So these are a few things that I wanted to share. I thank all of you for giving me a very patient hearing. And I think the panel discussion today has been seamless. Over to you, Gauri. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Achin, for those wonderful, wonderful deliberations. We are really thankful for your wonderful inputs on the topic. We have come to the close of this discussion, ladies and gentlemen. A small note of thanks for the speakers and panelists. Philip Barrister, thank you so much for your input. Certain life skills makes all the differences. Can be the hashtag for the day. Thank you so much for that, sir.
Thank you,
Subhash,
Gauri.
Raghav, sir.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Subhash, Raghav, sir, you very correctly mentioned the importance of listening skills, and I'm sure if we can inculcate this art properly, it would make our lives much more easier. Nargis, Qazi, ma'am, your mom made all the efforts, her inspiring story. Thank you so much, ma'am, for those wonderful, wonderful inputs, and also inputs from your school life and school curriculum. Rajeev, Ranjan, sir, thank you very much for being here today, sir, and your deliberations, inquire and explore, the two very important buzzwords. Thank you so much for your input, sir. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we want to close the panel for today. Stay tuned and a very goodbye.
Thank you.
All of you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gauri.
Have a
Thank
great
you.
time.
Thank you so much.